explosive rounds. This one has incendiary rounds. Sounds pretty cool. Also, we got Warthog, better aiming, faster reload of heavy weapons, and 25% increased damage to heavy weapons. So not from heavy weapons, but I guess you can damage the other weapons a lot better. Eagle Eye, we already know about. Pinch Fist, cheap repair, better reclaim, and collectors, and then half cost firing. So if you are trigger happy, that's going to be a really good guy. This guy's probably my favorite, though. I'm really interested in him. This one, you can hide damage, and you can see the enemy resources, and his active ability, you can also see all the way inside the enemy fort, and also somehow steal resources. So kind of like a spy commander, I think that's really cool. And then Armadillo, we already know about cheaper armor, shield, and fast doors, and then active fast half-cost repair. So a good bunkering down commander. So I thought I would show you guys that really quickly before we get back into the campaign here and continue where we left off. Now, if you remember last time, we made it to the mother lode, and that's just a little bit of a cutscene. But now if we go over, we got Siberia unlocked, and the starting one is Arms Race. So we gotta destroy enemy fort, win before enemy fires his cannon, and win with first cannon shot. I'm gonna go for 2 out of 3 of these, I think. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do the first cannon shot. That's gonna have to be a pretty good shot. So let's get into it here, and hopefully they got rid of those god-awful speech bubbles, but we'll see. We just lost contact with our helicarrier, Ivan. I'm in no mood for games. This is good. We're in no mood to waste ammunition. Oh, okay, so that's their fort. The enemy fort is large, but built only out of wooden bracing, so I think we have a different fort than them. Yes, we do. Smaller, but obviously much better reinforced, so I would take this fort any day of the week. We have a mortar for offense and a machine gun for defense. And it looks like, yes, we have to build another bridge. This campaign mode really likes to see me build bridges, so we'll quickly build a bridge over there, connect to the cannon, and that's the thing that's going to turn them, as they say, into chipwood. Looks like, yes, they also had the cannon, so that was part of the campaign objectives. We can't let them use their cannon, so yeah, let's try this out. Shear these pigs, comrade. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to quickly start building outwards here. Again, oh, it's automated? Holy shit, I didn't know you could do that. That's really cool. But yeah, no time to waste. I'm going to quickly build out here. This is actually going to be a really difficult bridge. It's pretty far out here. I'm not comfortable doing any more than that, so we're going to connect that to that. That should strengthen that a bit. You can see this is getting a little red, so let's make sure, you know, no, we don't need that. We need this. And let's make sure this is a little bit better reinforced. There we go. Looking great. And, oh my god. Alright, let's connect that to that. Let's also do a double connection up here, just to be safe. Not that that's really going to help too much. This is a really long distance to go, though. Oh, shit! Okay, they hit me. I'm not really focused on doing damage right now. I just want to get out to that thing. Oh my god, look at this bridge. This is ridiculous. There we go. And we connected, and we are somewhat safe, at least. Let's see how they're doing. Okay, they didn't even connect yet, so I'm not too worried. He's actually building a bridge. I'm not really building a bridge here. I'm just building a crazy contraption. Oh, looks like we got a mortar coming in. Come on, hit it! Hit it! You didn't hit it. Great. Alright, we probably should give them some love, too. Let's throw a mortar over there, and they shot it right out of the air. So, yeah, I don't think it's really worth the time to waste on the mortar here. So, let's straighten this out a little bit. There we go, like so. I'm also going to build a big tower here. That way we can connect ropes to that. And also, just for added defenses as well, it should help a little bit. There we go. That should be more than enough. Let's keep going out. Probably be smart to reinforce this a little bit at the ground level. There we go. Oh, this is going to be close. Actually, we're already... Ah, there it goes. Oops, I knew I shouldn't have done that.
Have you ever watched one of those antique shows where someone finds out their grandma's teapot or that book they've been using to level a table is actually worth enough to buy a new car? Did it make you wonder what valuables lurk in your closet? It turns out there are lots of everyday things that may look like junk, but are actually worth hundreds, maybe even tens of thousands of dollars. Get ready to be amazed at this list of 10 incredibly rare and valuable things you may just have.
Amazing!
Number 10. Certain Lego pieces. You know the feeling. You're almost finished with that Lego creation and you realize you've somehow misplaced one brick that would allow you to complete it. You look all over, check the box, the floor, under the table, and the couch, but it's nowhere to be found. But there's a solution on bricklink.com where people buy and sell individual Lego pieces. If you happen to have a piece someone wants, it can be worth hundreds of dollars. One red Darth Vader helmet piece goes for more than $400. And no, that doesn't include a working life-size lightsaber. Number 9. VHS tape of a poorly written zombie clown movie. In 1987, a movie called Tales from the Quad-Ed Zone was released straight to video with very little fanfare. Due to its nonsensical plot about a zombie clown from hell, few copies sold after its release, and not many have survived into this century. Its rarity has made the tape very collectible, and one sold on eBay for $700 in 2011, which is probably more than the writers got paid for. If you have one in your closet, it could be worth even more today. Number 8. World Championship Nintendo games and stadium events. If you have any old Nintendo games from the 80s or 90s, some of them may be worth 20 or even 50 bucks. But most are not as valuable as the rarest video game in the world, the NES World Championship cartridges. These were given to finalists at the actual World Championship games in 1990, and there were only 90 of them, making them incredibly rare. One sold for $17,500. If you don't find one of those in your attic, look for Stadium Events, a virtual sports video game by Bandai. Players used an attached running pad to compete in sporting events, sort of like a very early Wii Fit. Of course, back in 1987, when only 2,000 copies were produced, parents weren't as concerned with their kids' fitness as they are today, and only about 200 copies were sold before Nintendo bought the rights, and the others were pulled from shelves. One still sealed copy sold on eBay in 2015 for just shy of 6 figures. Number 7. Peanut, the Elephant Beanie Baby in Royal Blue. Beanie Babies are everywhere, and most aren't worth much more than retail value today. However, a few rare ones will still bring a nice price on eBay. One very rare Beanie Baby is Peanut the Elephant, if you can find him in Royal Blue. He was originally made in gray, light blue, and purple, and only a few of the Royal Blue ones were produced. One of the deep blue Peanuts sold for more than $3,000 in 2000, and they may be worth even more today. Number 6. Beatles Butcher Cover Yesterday and Today album. If you or your parents have any old vinyl albums lying around, you might want to look for the Beatles Yesterday and Today album. This is only valuable if it has the Butcher cover, which features the band posed with headless dolls and some sort of bloody butcher shop meat. Capitol Records produced about 750,000 of these before complaints that the cover was too graphic caused them to switch to a much tamer photo of the group standing around a piece of luggage. Many of these 750,000 were recalled and destroyed, so the Butcher cover is very rare today. One sold for more than $15,000 in 2013. Other rare and valuable albums tend to follow the pattern of alternate versions produced in low numbers. This list includes a version of Bob Dylan's The Freewheelin' with 4 different songs the label decided to change, but only after a few copies had been pressed. If you find an old vinyl album or CD that is different from others produced around the same time, it's worth doing some research to find out how rare and desirable it is. Number 5. Old technology. If you remember talking on a cell phone roughly the size and weight of a brick, attached to an even larger box with one of those curly wires, you might have something valuable. A 1983 Motorola Dynatac 8000X sold for $550, even though the seller admitted they had no idea if it still worked. We're guessing the buyer wasn't planning to make any calls with it, since not too many networks support analog these days. Who knows, maybe the buyer wanted a really expensive boat anchor, since those early cell phones were pretty heavy. In that same category, early Apple computers are not up to surfing the web at current speeds, but they can still be worth some money to collectors. The Apple I is the most valuable. Only 575 were ever sold, and one was auctioned off at Christie's for just shy of $400,000 in 2013. Apple IIs range from $100 to $2,500 depending on condition and specific model. Hang on to that broken iPad, it may be worth something 20 years from now. Number 4. Magic the Gathering Black Lotus Card. Lots of kids played Magic the Gathering as kids or teens, and some adults still play today. People often trade or sell cards, but few individual cards are as valuable as the Black Lotus, because only 1,100 of them were printed. If you have one in a shoebox at the back of your closet, you can expect to make as much as $27,000. Sadly, the same can't be said for that old New Kids on the Block fanny pack you've been hanging on to for years. Number 3. Hot Wheels Treasure Hunt Cars and McDonald's Toys. Released in 1995, Hot Wheels Treasure Hunt cars are still popular with collectors. Just one of these cars, a 1967 Camaro, sold for more than $500. If you were one of those weird kids who left your toys in the box and never played with them, you can get anywhere from $1,100 to $1,500 for the whole set in its original box. If you were like most of us and played with them, you probably lost half the cars between couch cushions, under the backseat of your parents' car, or left them at a friend's house, but the individual vehicles can still be worth a few $100s. In the same category of nostalgia toys, entire internet communities have sprung up around Happy Meal toys, and some of those are very valuable. While a box of random McDonald's toys can go for $500, complete sets also do well, especially if you kept them in good condition. One Disney-themed set sold for $200, and a complete set of 19 Minions from Despicable Me 2 netted the seller $360. These toys are, of course, worth more if they're in good condition and not smeared with ketchup. Number 2. The very first edition of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. In 1998, 500 copies of the first edition of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone were printed, listing J.K. Rowling as the author, with her full first name, Joanne Rowling. The publisher soon decided she should have one of those fancy initial-only first names, and later copies of the first edition said J.K. Rowling. Because only 500 were printed with the name Joanne, these are extremely rare, and if you have one, it could be worth as much as $50,000 or more. Let's hope your younger siblings didn't scribble all over it with crayons. Number 1. Rare banknotes and coins. You may not think you can buy much with $1, and even those 10s and 20s in your wallet might not buy everything you want, but some of them are worth more than their face value. Some people collect rare banknotes, and certain ones could be worth much more than the bill's printed value. Ones to look for: bills with serial numbers that are either very high or very low. For example, a serial number lower than 100 or high enough to start with 6 nines. The higher the number, the more valuable the bill. Also, look for star notes, where a star appears at the end of the serial number, solid notes, where one digit repeats over and over, and ladder notes, where the number goes in ascending or descending order, such as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Certain coins are also worth a lot of money due to rare defects, like the Kansas quarter that reads "In God We Rust," due to a grease smudge on the pressing machine. These sell for around $100. You can also look for Wisconsin quarters. If you find one printed with an extra line below the first leaf, there's another printing error that can net you up to $300. That's just a pretty brief outline though. We've made a whole video on this. Click here to find out more about how to identify rare and valuable currency. Know of any other hidden
If your wallet is in your back pocket, you could be sitting on a fortune and not even know it. Countries all over the world like to print notes or cast coins that are in very small amounts, or they make little mistakes during the printing or moulding process that lead to your notes and coins being slightly different from usual. Guess what? These notes and coins are collectible. If you have them in your wallet, there's someone who'll pay you for them, and not just pocket change. Here's our list of 10 ways you can spot rare valuable money in your wallet.
Amazing!
Number 10. Mistakes on American coins. Around 13 billion coins are minted in the US every year, but it's difficult to process and sometimes mistakes are made. If you can find a coin with a mistake on it, that's where the rarity is, and that's where the money is. Here's a nickel from 2005 with a bison engraved on it. An error by the minting machine led to 900 of them, looking like the bison had a spear stuck in its stomach. These change hands for about $1,250 today. Also, if you've got one of these 2004 Wisconsin quarters with 4 leaves on the corn husk instead of 3, you've actually got $300 rather than 25 cents. Here's another one. A 2005 Kansas quarter where they accidentally engraved "In God We Rust" rather than "Trust." Then on this dollar coin from 2005, they forgot to write "In God We Trust" on it altogether. These coins sell for over $100 each. Look out for this one also. A printing error making this penny from 1999 led to a wider gap between the A and the M in America. These coins are worth $500 now. My advice is to keep your eyes peeled. You never know what you may find. Number 9. The new British fiver. In October 2016, the Bank of England caused a nationwide craze by launching a new £5 note into circulation. These fivers, as us Brits call them, are smaller than before, and made of a polymer that's hard wearing and hard to forge. Collectors scrambled to find the ones with the lowest serial numbers. The first batch have the prefix AA01, so if you find one of those, it's definitely worth more than £5. Another one with the serial number AA01 followed by 6 4s sold on eBay for over $60,000. Elsewhere, a fiver with the serial number AA01000017 sold to a collector for over £4,000. Also, James Bond fans are paying over £5,000 on eBay for notes with 007 at the end of the serial number. Even rifle fans are shelling out for AK-47 notes. If you're wondering where number AA01000001 is, I'm afraid it was given to the Queen. Oh, and another interesting thing to look out for with the polymer £5 note is a small, barely visible engraving of Jane Austen. 4 rare limited edition Jane Austen notes were released, which are estimated to be worth around £50,000 each. The tiny portraits were designed by micro-engraver Graham Short, and as I'm making this video, one such note is still out there, waiting to be found. Number 8. Mistakes on British coins. Sure, the Americans have made a few mistakes when minting their coins, but the Brits are no better. Take this 50p coin commemorating the London Olympics in 2012. Designers tweaked the original design to make the swimmer a bit more visible, but not before 600 of the original coins were released into the system. The invisible swimmer coins fetch around £3,000 today. Also, in 2008, the minters forgot to put the date on this 20p coin. These dateless coins sell for around £200 today. But it's not just simple design errors that are valuable, as back in 1971, they even managed to mint coins on the wrong metal. British 2p's are usually copper, but a machine error saw the 2p design engraved on the nickel usually used for 10p pieces. If you find one of these silver 2p's, you'll end up with over £1,300 in your pocket. That's over 65,000 times the value of the coin face itself. Number 7. Special edition British coins. When us Brits can actually mint our coins properly, we produce coins to commemorate special events and anniversaries. Usually there are only a relatively low quantity of these coins, which makes them sought after by collectors, and valuable if you come across them. This is a 2011 50p coin celebrating the 250th anniversary of Kew Botanical Gardens in London. 210,000 of these coins were made, compared to the 7 million that were produced for special 50p coins according to this graph. A Kew Gardens 50p is actually worth £50 today. Or how about this? Here's a £2 coin designed to celebrate the life of Charles Dickens. It's got all the titles of his books written on it in really tiny writing. If you've got one of these, you'll have great expectations of selling it for £20. Alternatively, this is a £2 coin celebrating the 400th anniversary of Guy Fawkes' attempts to blow up the Houses of Parliament in 1605, back when we celebrated that sort of thing. The value of this coin has exploded to around £16 today. Number 6. Special edition Euro coins. If you're in the Eurozone, you can get in on the fun too. The currency may not have been around for hundreds of years, but there are rare special edition Euro coins, which can fetch a good amount, even though they're not official countries of the EU. Prison is a frightening concept. Hundreds of hardened criminals cooped up together in one place. People facing years locked up in a tiny cell, living on a poor diet, nothing much to do. It's no surprise that deadly disputes arise, and prisoners feel they need to hurt each other. But with no real weapons available to the average prisoner, they get creative, fashioning deadly weapons out of whatever they can find. Here's the top 20 most lethal prison weapons.
Amazing!
Number 20. Dummy submachine gun. While this weapon isn't actually a working submachine gun, it certainly looks the part. If I was a prison guard having this pointed at my head in a darkened room, I'd probably do what I was told. This dummy gun was found by guards in 1994 in Wolfenbüttel prison, Germany, after they received a tip-off that an escape was being planned. It's made from a grease injector, a piece of wood, and a rubber sleeve, all stuck together with black tape. Not only is this tool great for prisoners to intimidate others, especially when planning attacks, the side benefit is it carries a much smaller punishment than carrying something that actually works. Number 19. Double-edged blade. This slab of pure evil is a piece of wood with razor blades stuck into it. 5 large ones on one side, 6 smaller ones on the other. It's wrapped up in strong tape to hold it together, and a handle was stuck onto it. I can only imagine the damage this thing can cause. If you're wondering where the prisoner found the razors, the large ones were safety razors used for shaving. The smaller ones were used from pencil sharpeners. In prisons today, prisoners use special razors that are hard to break and are bright orange so difficult to hide. But never underestimate criminals with time on their hands and violence on their minds. Number 18. Prison grill. Another entry from Germany. This was found by a guard in Ludwigsburg prison back in the 1980s. It's a homemade electric grill made from the components of a broken heater, some tin foil, and some electric wire. It's possible that the prisoner in question just wanted to make some toast in his cell, but I'd sleep with one eye open if my psychopathic cellmate was using one of these late at night. Number 17. Crossbow. Yes, you heard me right. This is a prison-made crossbow discovered by guards at Stony Mountain Institution in Canada in 1988. It was made out of 10 toothbrushes, bits of a cigarette lighter, aluminium food tongs, and part of a coat hanger. The arrows were made out of matches, tightly rolled paper and masking tape, foil, and bits of electric wire. When the guards confiscated the crossbow, thankfully before it could be used, they tested it. They found it could shoot accurately up to 40 feet. Pretty impressive. It's now in a museum. Number 16. Catapult. This is another one from Wolfenbüttel prison in Germany, where they are clearly incarcerating their most ingenious criminals. This is a wrist rocket seized by guards in 1991. It was made by an inmate in the metal workshop of the prison. It could be used to fire letters over the fence into the outside world, or fire deadly projectiles at other prisoners. When it was confiscated, the inmate who made it said it wasn't a catapult. It was a piece of abstract art entitled Dachshund. Number 15. Knuckle Duster. This monstrosity is another Wolfenbüttel prison special. Honestly, what is going on in that place? It's a knuckle duster made from a metal wood file, presumably stolen from the prison workshop. Its coarse, sharp teeth were normally used to shape wood, but this inmate had managed to curl the metal into a round circle and tied padding on with string so he could grip it. Presumably the next thing it would shape would be another prisoner's face, and not in a nice way either. Luckily, it was confiscated before it was used. Number 14. Mace. This homemade mace was found hidden in the metal workshop of Santa Fu prison near Hamburg in Germany. It was made by welding nails to a metal pole. Although it could be used as a deadly weapon, it was thought that it was going to be used during an escape attempt. It could be used to destroy the barbed wire on the top of the prison walls before the wannabe fugitive would climb over. Number 13. Bedpost gun. Here's a weapon that actually works, and was actually used. This gun was made out of iron bedposts, and the charge on top of the gun was made out of match heads coupled with lead pilfered from the prison curtain tapes. The ignition came from a broken light bulb filament and 2 AA batteries. It could fire whatever someone put in the barrel, such as bolts or stones. In 1984, 2 inmates took a guard hostage and fired their homemade gun, breaking a sheet of bulletproof glass. They ran into a waiting car and escaped. Number 12. Glass blade. This may look like something out of Game of Thrones, but it's just an ordinary prison-made glass dagger. It's made out of a long piece of tough reinforced glass, terrifically strong, taken from a broken window pane. The prisoner had filed it into a spike and used tape to fashion a handle that he could grip. It could then be used as a very effective stabbing device. Number 11. Molten chocolate bar. One thing you'd imagine you can give to prisoners without any fear is a lovely bar of chocolate. However, you'd be wrong. Prisoners have been known to get a chocolate bar with caramel in it, melt it down on a hot plate, then fling it into the face of another prisoner. Not only is chocolate and caramel burning hot, it's also very hard to remove from your face once it hardens. It would cause serious facial damage to anyone unlucky enough to be on the receiving end. Number 10. Razor blade comb. This hair-raising weapon was confiscated from a maximum security jail in New Jersey in the 1980s. Prisoners in these special prisons don't have much in the way of possessions, but they do have combs for their hair, laces for their shoes, and razors for shaving. Here's a comb with 4 of the tines replaced by razor blades, held in place with shoelaces and copper wire. Something tells me it wouldn't be used as a hairstyling device anymore. Number 9. Bunk bed spear. This one was found in San Quentin, one of the most notorious prisons in the world, located just north of San Francisco. In 1985, 3 prisoners fashioned a spear in their cells. They managed to take a piece of steel out of their bunk bed, using a clip from a paper binder. They sharpened it down to a deadly point, and attached it to a pole made of rolled up newspapers, and tied it all together with clothing. By listening to the amount of steps a guard took after entering their wing of the prison, they could calculate where he was, and whether he was in range of their spear, without even seeing him. Tragically, Sergeant Howell Birchfield was stabbed through the heart with this spear. All 3 inmates were convicted of murder, and 1 was sentenced to death. Number 8. Paper blade. Here's proof that prisoners can make a weapon out of just about anything. This is a paper shiv, made from 25 pages of the National Geographic rolled up tightly, then rubbed with soap and salt to make them harder. It's able to pierce skin like a metal blade, and could easily be disposed of by flushing it down the toilet. In fact, prisoners have also made a similar shiv out of toilet paper, through the old technique of paper mache. How resourceful. Number 7. Double-barreled pistol. This is a homemade pistol found in the cell of 2 prisoners in Germany. It's crude, to say the least. 2 metal tubes welded together in the metal workshop, with another piece of metal stuck on the bottom as a grip. The shooter would fill the barrel with match heads and use metal pellets as bullets. The gun was never used, which is probably for the best. Although it could potentially cause damage at close range, its rough construction meant it was probably more dangerous to the shooter than the target. Number 6. Coat hanger saw. This simply made saw would easily be able to cut through somebody's skin and flesh. With a bit of effort and time, something prisoners have plenty of, it would cut through iron bars too. It was made from a wooden coat hanger and a hacksaw blade stolen from the workshop. The blade is screwed into the wood and ready to go. Rather worryingly, this contraption was confiscated from the mental hospital wing of a German prison. Number 5. Spiked glove. This may look like an ordinary gardening glove, but rather than protecting you from sharp objects, this glove is full of sharp objects. A prisoner on gardening duty stole a small glove and a larger, rougher gardening glove. He sewed the smaller one inside the larger one. He also sewed specially sharpened carpet tacks into the space between the 2 gloves. It wouldn't hurt when he put the gloves on, but if he punched anyone with it, it would drive 9 razor blades into the victim's face. Yikes. Number 4. Water bomb. You probably played with water bombs when you were a child, right? All good, clean fun. Water bombs in San Quentin, though, are a different matter. In 2011, a prisoner dropped a tied-up grocery bag full of water from the 5th floor onto the head of another inmate on the ground floor. The grocery bag, which was strong enough not to pop on impact, could hold up to 20 litres of water and weigh up to 44 pounds. That's the same weight as 2.5 heavy bowling balls. Ouch. The victim was hospitalised with critical injuries, luckily not to be killed. Number 3. Razor whip. We're back in Germany, and here's a whip with razors on it. In 1996, a drug addict in Fußbüttel prison had his cell searched after a violent incident. They found this, a wooden post with a shoelace attached to the top, with some safety razors tied up and down the shoelace. Luckily, this weapon was found before it could be used, otherwise a bloodbath of horrific proportions would have ensued. Number 2. Cross shiv. Homemade prison knives or shivs are often carved out of everyday objects like toothbrushes, but often they're difficult to hide. In 1994, in Wolfsbüttel prison, a craze started amongst the prisoners for making crucifixes out of wood in the prison workshop. The guards, thinking their inmates had found religion, were happy to let this continue. That is, until they discovered a catch of crucifix shivs with sharp metal points hidden under the wood at the long end of the crucifixes. I'd imagine they were rather cross after that. Number 1. Radio bomb. Finally, a story of revenge and a crazy prison weapon. South Carolina serial killer Donald Pee Wee Gaskins was serving a life sentence after being found guilty of a string of murders. In 1982, he was contacted by a man called Tony Chemo, who asked Gaskins if he would kill another inmate in his prison. This prisoner, Rudolph Tyner, was in prison for murdering Chemo's mother and stepfather. Remarkably, Gaskins agreed. He poisoned Tyner's food, but that didn't do the job. Somehow, Gaskins obtained some C4 explosive, which he hid inside a radio set. He gave Tyner the radio, and told him to put the radio to his head at night, and they'd have a conversation, like a walkie-talkie. Tyner did exactly this, and Gaskins detonated the C4 remotely from his bed, killing Tyner instantly. Gaskins received the death penalty for this particular crime. Which one did you think was the smartest? Or just the most brutal? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it and subscribe, clicking that bell icon to never miss another video. Thanks for watching.